Welcome back, everyone. Inshaa Arora will now talk about how relationship with food impacts our self-esteem. Over to you, Inshaa.
Thank you, Hema. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm really humbled and honored to be here today. Thank you, RefleXION, for giving me this opportunity to reach out to so many people and to talk about something that I'm extremely passionate about, which is nutrition and self-esteem. Now, I'd also like to thank Ruta for giving us such an amazing insight into, what we actually are, like how to understand our true gold and how to understand how we should not let other external factors impact, the value that we naturally have, like our true gold. So talking about gold, I'd like to talk to you guys about what this gold actually is. Now, what do you guys think this gold is that we so talk about? What is this gold within us? What makes us so valuable? Can anybody tell me what do you think makes us so valuable? Okay.
I think it's unmanifested potential within ourselves, no? That is what makes us more valuable, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let me talk about what actually makes us so valuable. What is that true goal that we have within us? Okay. It is our physical health and our mental health. These are the two things that make us what we are, that make us so valuable. Yeah, if we've heard so many times, health is wealth. If our physical health is all right, we are definitely going to experience, everything good in our life, and mental health also. So self-esteem has a lot to do with physical health and mental health. Yeah, and what is it that impacts the physical health and mental health and our self-esteem further? It is our relationship with food and the lifestyle choices that we make. So together, all these four aspects, all these four things that you see on the screen is what makes our self-esteem what it is today. Yes. And if you look at this carefully, whatever I have on my screen carefully, you'll see that each one of these things share a dual relationship with self-esteem. Now, what does that mean? So this simply means that what your self-esteem is today, what you think your self-esteem is like today, that determines what your physical health is. That also impacts your mental health, your relationship with food. It definitely alters your relationship with food depending on where you stand when it comes to your self-esteem, and the lifestyle choices that you make. So these are the four impacts of self-esteem that we see around us. And if you look at it the other way around, your current physical health, your mental health, your current relationship with food, and the lifestyle choices that you have, that you currently have, they all impact your self-esteem in a certain way. So this relationship is definitely a dual relationship. Yeah. And if you look at it carefully, again, you'll see that physical health and mental health are not the factors that are causing anything. They are the outcome of what our relationship with food is and lifestyle choices are. So the two things that we can actually control out of all these four factors that you see on the screen are the relationship with food, our current relationship with food, yeah, and the lifestyle choices that we make. If we make our relationship with food an extremely healthy one and a beautiful one, and if we make our lifestyle choices better ones, healthier ones, then automatically our self-esteem will become better. Yes, so this is why I'd say that nutrition and self-esteem are so deeply intertwined. You cannot do without considering how important nutrition is for self-esteem. We cannot leave nutrition aside and think of self-esteem as a whole. Yes. So today, the two things that I'm going to talk about, the two important things, are the things that impact our self-esteem, which is the relationship with food and our lifestyle choices. So first, let's start exploring the relationship between self-esteem and food. Okay, but before we delve any further, any deeper into this, I'd like to ask you guys, what kind of food do you think you reach out for when you're feeling a little low? Not just when your self-esteem is low, when you're just not feeling yourself, when you're not feeling that you're really, really happy, what kind of foods do you reach out for then?
I would say junk food.
Well, that sums it up well. Anybody else?
Chocolates, desserts.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Coffee is normal, yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I think Devi Aunty is saying, I think sweets.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Even
For
Archana
me,
is saying
it's
that. Sweet.
for me, it's a glass of.
Okay. How come I don't hear any salads? Okay. All right. So typically, when we are feeling a little low, when our self-esteem is a little low, we tend to reach out for such kind of things. I think this picture should sum it all, right? Or whatever everybody's been talking about, the sweet stuff, junk food, everything. But I'd like to call these foods comfort foods. Why? Because we get a little bit of comfort. We are seeking comfort when we're reaching out for such food. We're actually trying to seek comfort, right? In something, and that is why we're reaching out for these foods. So these are typical comfort foods that I'd say we reach out for. But have you guys ever wondered why is it that we reach out for such foods when you're feeling low? Has anybody thought about it? Why is it that we feel like having a bar of chocolate or maybe a slice of pizza or a bag of chips? How come we don't feel like reaching out for a bowl of salad or maybe just like a bowl of oatmeal when you're feeling a little low? Have you ever wondered? Has anybody thought about it? Okay, so to explain this concept, explain why it is that we reach out for comfort foods, I'll have to introduce a little guy to you all. Yeah. And I call this cute little thing that you see on the screen a neurotransmitter. All right, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about the neuroscience behind all this. You know, why? Because it's important for us to understand why is it that we're reaching out for comfort foods when we're feeling a certain. So now this neurotransmitter, the little guy that you see on the screen, there are hundreds and thousands of such neurotransmitters in our body and 200 different types of neurotransmitters. All right. So right from our blinking to breathing to our heartbeat to the way we are moving, each and every movement in our body, each and everything that we're doing is being controlled by these neurotransmitters. And when these neurotransmitters are fed properly, when these neurotransmitters are getting the kind of nutrition they need to function properly, then everything is hunky-dory. But when these neurotransmitters are not getting what they want, which obviously depends on the lack of nutrients in our diet or something of that sort, then these neurotransmitters go a little haywire. Yes. If there are any such neurotransmitters that would make us happy or elevate our mood, I'd say there are 4 of them. So we have identified 4 such neurotransmitters in our body, 4 types of neurotransmitters that would actually make us happy, that would control our mood, and that would control the way we think. And these neurotransmitters are serotonin, number 1, dopamine, endorphin, and oxytocin. Now, let me explain to you what serotonin does. Now, serotonin is also known as the mood stabilizer. All right. And why is it called the mood stabilizer? Because depending on what we are feeding this particular neurotransmitter, we are either in a good mood or a bad mood. Simplified. Yeah. If I have to simplify it, I just say that this is the neurotransmitter that makes us happy or sad. And it is very sensitive to the diet that we are following. Okay, so whatever we're eating is actually releasing serotonin or not. Number 1. The second neurotransmitter that makes us happy is the dopamine, which is also known as the reward chemical. Yeah, and it is released when we do anything pleasurable. It could be anything. It could be hanging out with your friends and chilling with them, or talking about something, some pleasant memories that have happened in the past. So that is what dopamine is. Then endorphin. Endorphin is also very important because first of all, it works as a painkiller and it's released whenever you do some kind of physical exercise. Whenever you do some kind of strenuous work, endorphins are released. That's why when you're doing something, like when you are doing your exercise, that time you may not feel great about it. But right after that, you'll feel like, wow, I've done something good. And that is because of the endorphins that are being released in the body. Okay, and then oxytocin is another such neurotransmitter. Now, since serotonin is the neurotransmitter that is affected by the kind of food that we eat, then let's see what kind of foods release these happy hormones, or particularly serotonin. Do you guys have any guesses for this? What kind of foods do you think would release these happy hormones? What kind of foods would make us happy?
Chocolate, definitely.
Okay. Anybody else?
Anything which taste we like.
Sorry?
Any tasty food.
Tasty food? Okay. So see, here is what it is. Does it look familiar? Yeah, isn't this the same
Very
thing?
much.
Yeah, so isn't this the same thing that we saw when we were talking about comfort foods, the foods that we run to when we are not feeling up for it, when we are feeling a little low? Yes. So if the same foods are releasing happy hormones inside, then where is the problem? We should all be going for a slice of pizza or a bar of chocolate or any of these foods to make us happy, right? Then why is it that we should not go for such foods? So let me tell you why. Even though these foods make you happy, release happy hormones, here is why we should not indulge in these foods. Because this is typically what happens inside whenever we eat something junk. Now, I also like to refer to junk foods as fast foods. And why so? Fast foods are not called fast foods just because they are prepared fast enough, but they're also called fast foods because they do everything fast inside our body. And by that, what I mean is that when you take your first bite of that pizza or burger or your chocolate that you so like, what is happening inside is there is a sudden surge in serotonin levels. Okay, your serotonin is through the roof. You are super happy, and along with that, your glucose levels have also risen. Okay, so everything is at the peak. In those 5 minutes of you consuming something like that, you are super happy. Your glucose levels have risen, and then what happens between 50 and 55 minutes is what I want you guys to see. Okay, you can see that the sugar drops and the mood starts to get impacted. Why is that so? Because this serotonin level and glucose level that has risen so much within the first 5 minutes suddenly drops. The sugar levels suddenly drop, the glucose will suddenly drop, the serotonin also suddenly drops. So there is no balance anywhere. And once it drops, then you feel like you're falling into a black hole. Yeah. Has anybody experienced guilt kick in, within an hour of eating such foods? Have you ever experienced feeling shameful or guilty about eating something? I've heard so many people talk about, oh my God, I had a slice of pizza, but now I'm feeling so bad about it. And this all happens within an hour's time of you consuming that food. Yeah. And serotonin is obviously rising in junk food also, but it's falling drastically within an hour of you consuming that. Yes. So that is why we should not be eating junk food or so-called fast food when we are feeling a little low. And what is the ultimate impact of this junk food on us? Why is it not advisable to have to indulge in junk food or fast food when we are feeling low? It is because we always tend to fall into an emotional eating cycle whenever we indulge in such foods, because first of all, such kind of foods, because they are immediately, like instantly releasing so much serotonin in your body, they make us feel happy, right? So they give us a false impression that they are the kind of foods that make us happy, whereas we've seen that within an hour's time they actually tend to make us unhappy. So what happens is, to make yourself feel happy, to feel happier, we tend to fall into the trap of the emotional eating cycle. And the cycle that you see in front of you, has anybody in this group ever experienced this? Have you ever experienced reaching out for one small thing, one small, let's say a chip from a bag of chips, and uncontrollably reaching for another one? Is there anybody in this group who stopped at just one? I would like to know that. Has anybody experienced this cycle before, that you just uncontrollably reach for another one, and then before you know it, the bag of chips is over? Yeah, you finished the bag of chips.
I've definitely eaten one whole pizza. So
Yeah.
that's one stop.
Yeah.
And it always starts with one slice. You always tell yourself it's just one slice of pizza, I'll be fine. But it's just impossible to stop there, because you just keep falling into the trap of emotional eating cycle, because you're feeling good about it also. At the same time, you're feeling guilty, because the guilt sets in after a while. And because you're feeling guilty, you want to feel happy again. So then you continue reaching out for such foods to make you happy. And it's a vicious circle, because you don't end up being happy at the end of it too. Even if you eat one full pizza to make yourself happy, that is not making you happy. You are going to feel miserable about it. In fact, you're going to feel worse about it than you would if you just had like one slice of pizza. Right? So it's a very emotional eating cycle, and this is what we need to watch out for. So I feel that it's okay to reach out for one small snack if you're feeling low. Yeah, but if you understand the reason behind it, you will know that you don't have to reach out for another one. You don't have to fall into the trap of emotional eating cycle. Just have that one piece of chocolate that makes you happy, and remember that, okay, I think I might be emotionally eating. I think it might be just emotional eating. There is probably something else going on somewhere, and just put an end to it somehow. So awareness is the first step, and that is what I'm trying to create. I'm trying to create that kind of awareness, so you guys are aware that, okay, this is what happens inside our system, and this is why we reach out for certain foods. So the next time you actually crave for a piece of chocolate or crave for a slice of pizza, you should know that maybe there's something going on within that you need to address, rather than reaching out for a comfort food like this. Yes, and what is the ultimate impact of emotional eating? So I've seen emotional eating cycles which are as long as 6 months, 8 months. It could even be years altogether before people realize that they are in an emotional eating cycle. And what is the impact of that? Do you see what it does to your in your head? Yeah, it makes you depressed. And why is that so? Because you're constantly trying to cheer up with the right kind of foods, but at the same time you're also falling into the trap of guilt and shame. Yeah, so instead of feeling good about anything, you are just constantly feeling bad about it. Yeah, so it's pulling you down. And that is the impact of emotional eating on our body. So anybody who has probably not understood the neuroscience behind this can ask me any questions if you have at this point.
So I think it's the same thing that applies to even drinks, right? I think be it aerated non-alcoholic drinks or even the alcoholic drinks.
Absolutely. See, all these foods are addictive in a way, because they are, because of the kind of serotonin that they're releasing in the body instantly, right? So everybody wants to feel instantly happy, and that is the reason why we are naturally attracted towards such food and drinks as well. Okay, so now what are the kind of foods that can make us happy yet not impact us in such a way that that we enter into an emotional eating cycle? What are the kind of foods that can actually help us? So let's explore some of the foods that would help us. But first, let me explain to you what happens when we eat healthy foods. Okay, so let's say something like a bowl of oatmeal. Okay, what would happen when you would have a bowl of oatmeal within an hour's time? All right, so when you're having that bowl of oatmeal, you're probably cursing yourself for choosing to have something like that. Okay, first of all, but 30 minutes after you are done eating that bowl of oatmeal, you will suddenly feel that you are in a happier state. So what healthy foods do is they release serotonin for sure in the body, but they do so in a gradual way. Okay, so the serotonin and glucose levels are rising gradually. And once they reach a certain stage, once they reach the peak level, okay, of where they need to be, then they stay stable. So 2 hours or 3 hours after having a bowl of oatmeal, you'll still feel upbeat. Yeah. In those first 30 minutes, like I said, you might not feel good about choosing that particular food, but 2-3 hours, till 2-3 hours of you eating that food, you will feel cheerful and you will feel happy. And you will feel that, okay, I feel like I've done something good today. I don't know why. A lot of times I hear a lot of people say that, I don't know why I felt so good, after eating this. So that's why, because both serotonin and glucose levels rise, and they gradually rise and they stay at the same level for a longer period of time. So now, what are some of these foods that we need to indulge in to boost our mood and self-esteem? First of all, I'd say good carbohydrates. Okay. Now, carbohydrates are sadly, bicharas, they are always under the radar. People just want to steer away from carbohydrates these days because of all the fad diets that are going on. But not all carbs are bad. There are good carbs and there are bad carbs. And some of the good carbohydrates that we should all indulge in, that we should all include in our diet, are carbohydrates like starchy vegetables. Yeah. Potatoes, again, I think nobody likes to befriend potatoes these days, especially when you go on a diet, but potatoes are good. It's just that we need to know our limits for everything. Okay, beans are excellent. Whole grains are very good. Whole grains like brown rice, your quinoas, yeah, anything that is still whole and that has not been processed yet is good for you, is a good carbohydrate. Fruits and vegetables. Not many people know that vegetables are carbohydrates too, but yes, vegetables have carbohydrates and all the good carbohydrates. Yes, so we should definitely indulge in a lot of fruits and vegetables for sure. Yeah, to get the same kind of benefits. Okay. Then good sources of protein. We should all try and include good sources of protein in our diet. All right. Now there are vegetarian sources also. A lot of people feel that protein, to get good protein, you need to have animal fat, which is just a myth. That is not true. You can definitely include good protein in a vegetarian diet as well. And some of the things that you see on the right side of the screen are good vegetarian sources of protein, like almonds, your pumpkin seeds, soya chunks, Greek yogurt, your quinoas. These are all good sources of protein. Yes. Then omega-3 is one thing that would definitely help you in keeping your mood stabilized. All right. So if you include foods rich in omega-3 in your diet, you are doing your body a huge favor by, by ensuring that your mood is stabilized. So some of the foods that are rich in omega-3 are walnuts. Walnuts are excellent. Okay. Chia seeds, your tofus that you get, avocados are very good. So these are the kind of foods that we should include in our diet to ensure that our mood is stabilized. Foods rich in vitamin D for sure. Okay, so certain foods that are rich in vitamin D are excellent for our mood stabilization and also to ensure that we don't feel so low, right? So some of the things would be eggs for sure. Okay, your orange juice, soy milk. Okay, some of the fortified milk substitutes like soy milk are also excellent in vitamin D and are very good in including in your diet for sure. Foods rich in vitamin B. Now there are two kinds of vitamin B that I recommend for for feeling for mood upliftment, especially B9, which is folate, and B12, which is cobalamin. Now, whenever I talk about all these nutrients also, we don't really need to take nutrient supplements to ensure that, our mood is fine and that we're feeling fine. That is not how it should work. You should include more foods which are rich in these nutrients naturally in your diet, and see how your body is responding to it. See how you're feeling about it. Yes, and then accordingly act upon it. So some of the foods that are rich in B9 and B12 are in front of you on the screen. Spinach is excellent. Lentils are very good. Broccoli is excellent. Mangoes are also very good for all the mango lovers. You'd be happy to know. Yes, and oranges are there. Sweet corn is there. So these are some of the foods that are rich in vitamin D that we should include in our diet. We should try and include in our diet. Foods rich in selenium. Now, selenium is another mineral that is essential to keep our mood stabilized. And where can we find selenium? Which foods have selenium in them? Cottage cheese, Brazil nuts, brown rice, okay, and sunflower seeds. These are some of the sources of food rich in selenium that we should try and include in our diet for sure. Now, what is the impact of including these healthy foods in our body? Okay, what happens to our body when we include such healthy foods in our diet? So for that, I'd say, first of all, it's vital for our physical and mental health, right? Like we discussed. And it also increases happiness, because all these foods that I spoke about are happy foods. Happy foods are not your pizzas and chocolates and all the things that make you instantly happy. Happy foods are foods that make you happy and keep you happier for longer. So all these foods that I've just shown to you, that I've just talked about, are your happy foods. So they naturally tend to increase your happiness level. You are naturally more in alignment with yourself. Your mind is more in alignment with your body, and overall your mental health and your physical health improves for sure. Yes, so that is the impact of healthy foods on our body. Now, I would like to talk about, many times I get asked this question, that how would you know, how can you find out what a person's self-esteem is like by, what their eating habits are like. So for that, what I have done is I have actually categorized, the eating habits in such a way that you know whether your self-esteem is good, whether it's bad or ugly. Okay, so you can look at attributes. I'll show you shortly of good self-esteem. What your eating habits would be like if your self-esteem is good, it's in a happy place. What your eating habits would be like if your self-esteem was not in a great place, and what your eating habits would be like if your self-esteem was in a very ugly place. Okay, so first of all, let's explore the good self-esteem. Okay, let's see what your eating habits would be like if your self-esteem was good. So first of all, I'd say that if your self-esteem is good, you would be naturally attracted to healthier foods. Yeah, it is proven that when we are feeling happy, when we are in a happier place, when our mental state is much better, we are naturally attracted to happier, healthier foods. Yes, versus when we are attracted to unhealthy foods. Yes. Secondly, when you have good self-esteem, you are more or less happy with your food choices, whatever food choices you're making. Then you don't want to make any alterations in your food choices because you're happy with them. You know that your mind and your body is aligned with those food choices as well. Yes. Also, if you have good self-esteem, you don't allow others' opinions to affect you. So for example, if I know that something like brown rice is good for me, even if someone would come and tell me that, you know what, no, you should not eat brown rice, se ye hota hai, wo hota hai, it wouldn't matter to me, because I know my body is aligned with this food, and I have explored it and I've understood the relationship with food, my relationship with food. Also, when you have good self-esteem, you have a good sense of food or what foods suit you or not. And like I just explained to you, you do understand that, okay, you know what, this is the kind of food that I probably need to eat because this suits me. You automatically start understanding what foods are aligned with you. All right. And you don't really like to binge eat because you know your limits. You have a good relationship with food. You don't feel the need to binge eat if you are in a good place when it comes to self-esteem. How many of you identify with this? How many of you in this group identify with the good guy, the good self-esteem guy? Okay. All right. No
No,
problem.
no, definitely not me.
Okay. So then let's look at the bad self-esteem guy. Let's see what his attributes are. So now when we talk about the bad self-esteem, the first thing that you'd see, that you notice on the screen, is that this person lets emotions drive food choices. A lot of emotional eating. And a lot of times actually people don't even know that they're emotional eating. But after what I've explained to you in the previous slides, I think now at this point, maybe you will start understanding when you're emotional eating. When you're naturally inclined to eating certain foods, you'll know that, okay, this is probably an emotional, choice that I'm making. So this is the first attribute. Then such people are more attracted to junk foods or comfort foods, the so-called comfort foods. Yes. So, you should know that your self-esteem is maybe, in the bad self-esteem category. Okay, then the next thing is, if you have bad self-esteem, you let others' opinion affect your food decisions to a certain extent, because you yourself don't know your relationship with food yet. You are not completely aligned with your food choices. You don't know what works on you. You are just experimenting constantly. And since you're eating more of your junk food, you really haven't found that alignment yet. So you are obviously accepting, whatever suggestions you're getting from others to make changes in your food choices. And you obviously also don't know what foods would suit you, because you haven't experimented that much. You're really not there yet, right? And such people don't always eat unhealthy, but don't typically eat healthy food either. Yes. So how many of you do you think fall in the bad self-esteem category? I think I'm somewhere in between bad and good self-esteem, because I'm not entirely this and I'm not entirely that. So I'm definitely in transit somewhere.
I think I fall under this bad self-esteem.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think let's hear it from people, right? I think let's.
Yes. Anybody would like to share any insights into it? Okay, Ram agrees with this. Bad self-esteem, Ram?
Typically, with the food eating habits, I do eat unhealthy food. Yes, I do eat healthy food. Yes, there's a mix of both.
Yeah.
But sometimes you cannot let go of your craving for a pizza or some kind of food like that.
Absolutely.
So that does come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you ask me if I can binge it, yes, I do binge it as well. But yes, it's from my eating habits, I know it's not healthy, but you end up picking up one or two. So
Yeah. Emotional
yeah,
eating, right? So we all fall into the trap of emotional eating. It's inevitable at times, because we just need instant comfort from something, and food is what, ultimately gives us that comfort.
gives us that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think,
Okay.
Inshaa, most of them are in transition, neither good nor completely bad.
Yeah. Even I'm not in the bad in the good self-esteem or the bad self-esteem category. I think I'm somewhere in transit, So I think most of us are. We are still trying to explore our relationship with food also. And with so much awareness around us, I think I'm happy that most of the people that I talk to they've already begun their health journey. So that is also a very important thing, to be aware of certain things and to begin taking that first step. Okay. Now let's see what it would look like if the self-esteem was really ugly. Yes. Okay, so this is what it would look like. The ugly self-esteem, typically you would have no self-control, no control over food whatsoever. Yes, so you're completely, what do you say, finding comfort in food to such an extent that you're dependent on it, to a certain extent. You eat junk food or comfort food most of the time. So most of your meals are, comfort foods, your so-called comfort foods. You allow others to affect your opinion completely, because obviously, like I said, the relationship with food is not you're not there yet, you're not completely aligned with food as such. So others' opinions are going to affect us if we don't really know what works on us. And these people are invariably in the emotional eating cycle, and most of them are not even aware of this. Yeah, because emotions are driving their food choices, and they're finding it difficult to come out of it. So they're constantly in an emotional eating cycle. And like I said, the cycles could be as long as 6 to 8 months, or maybe a couple of years also. So these are typically those people who are constantly in an emotional eating cycle, and yet they're not aware of it. Also, these people allow guilt to take over. And because of that guilt, the emotional eating cycle becomes unbreakable. Yes, because that guilt, when it drives you to eat something, that is a very typical urge, and it just keeps pushing you into the emotional eating cycle further. And obviously, these people don't share a good relationship with food, so they have not established a happy, healthy relationship with food yet. Is there anybody in this group who can relate to this, who thinks that the self-esteem is at an ugly stage? Okay, I'm happy to know that.
Yeah, I think as Hema also mentioned, I think most of us are between good and the bad.
Yes, yes. And most of us are in transit, like I said, we are somewhere in between, not really in any one particular category. Okay, so this was this. Now, another thing that I'd like to talk to you about when it comes to food is we all have certain energy centers in our body. Okay, so there are certain energy centers that we can activate or deactivate by eating certain kind of foods. And we should all be aware of this, because these are the things that are driving us to be what we are. Okay, so if you look at it carefully, at any given point of time, if you want to connect to divine wisdom, we all know what food we need for that, right? We all need fasting, breathing, or meditating. These are the 3 foods that can help you connect to your divine wisdom. At any given point of time, if you feel like you need to trust your intuition a little more, you should reach out for more purplish foods like blueberries, purple grapes, plums, purple cabbage. All these purple colored foods would help you trust your intuition a bit better. Expressing your truth. If you feel that you have an issue in expressing your truth, or you really want to express your truth in a better way, you should indulge in a lot of liquids. Yes, especially water. Water is excellent. So water, juices, smoothies, any kind of teas, anything that would help you satiate your thirst, or quench your thirst, would help you express your truth better as well. Then whenever you feel like you want to be a little more loving, forgiving, and compassionate, or you want to experience more love, forgiveness, and compassion in your life, you need to eat your greens. Okay, whatever greens are available. So be it broccoli, kale, your spinach, anything green that you see around you would help you love and nurture others better as well, and also be a little compassionate towards yourself and others. All right. And since we are talking about self-esteem, if you want your self-esteem to be at a certain level, if you want to feel a little courageous and intellectual, and also have a good self-esteem, then you should go for all these yellow foods like corn, butternut squash, lemon. Anything that's yellow in color would help you gather your courage and be a better version of yourself, to have a good self-esteem. And when you want to embrace your life with passion, then orange is the color to go to, orange or peach. Okay, so all these cantaloupes, your oranges, mangoes, peaches, these are the kind of fruits that would actually help you embrace your life with passion. They bring in a lot of passion along with them. And if you want to feel grounded, protected, or secure, then you should definitely stick to the root vegetables like potatoes, beets, onions, garlic. All these foods would help you stay grounded. Yes, and also make you feel protected and secure. So this is the kind of a relationship that we share with food, and this is the kind of an impact that food can have on us and our self-esteem. Yes, and I have a very interesting activity to do with you guys right now. It's always we always feel that we are a certain way, but let us determine what we actually are like. So, for example, there is an activity which will determine what kind of an emotional eater you are, if at all you are. And before I took this test, I felt that I was a certain way, but I turned out to be something else. So it's really helpful in understanding what we truly are, what are where we are leaning towards, like what our actions are leaning towards. So I'll just stop sharing my screen for a second and open the questionnaire. And then let's do this activity. We'll just take 5 minutes to go through the questions and do this activity, and then we'll discuss the results as well. So let me just stop sharing my screen for a second. Okay. All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we just have to, one second. Yeah. So we just have to choose true or false for these questions. Yeah. These are the first 15 questions. Once you all are done with these questions, I'm going to move on to the next set of questions. But if at any point you feel that some of these questions are not relevant, you can just leave the questions altogether. But just mark the answers for the others alongside. Just take a piece of paper and pen and write down number 1 true or false, number 2 true or false, or whatever it is, and keep writing it down like that.
Inshaa, can you actually zoom it, because I think the font is too small.
Oh, is it? Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Vibha, is it better?
Yes, thank you.
Better? Okay. All right. Just let me know once you guys are done with these set of questions. I'll move on to the next one.
Not able to see the 15th question. Can you just
Yeah,
click it?
it's only there till 14th. I'll
Yeah.
move on to the 15th one. So maybe I'll just show you the 15th question. Wait. Now you guys can see it, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay, perfect. Should I move on? Yeah, okay. Okay, can we check if everybody is done?
Yes, yes, I think people are done.
Okay. So I'm moving on to the next set, yeah? Just a second. Okay. Okay. Let me know once you guys are done. So I'll show you how the scoring works for this.
I think a few people are done, I guess.
Okay. Should we wait for a little while for everyone to get done with this?
Maybe I think a minute.
Okay, no problem. All right. Should I move on to the scoring bit? Yeah, okay. All right. So, okay. So this is what it is, guys. If you've answered true to 3 or more questions between the questions 1 and 5, you are a binge eater. Okay. If you've answered true to 3 or more questions between 6 and 10, you are a mood eater. If you've answered true to 3 or more questions between 11 and 15 questions, you are a self-esteem eater. Okay. If you've answered true to 3 or more questions between 16 and 20, you are a stress eater. And if you've answered true to 3 or more questions between 21 and 25, you are a snowball effect eater. Now let me explain each one of these eater types to you guys as well, for your understanding. So binge eater is someone who would eat anything and everything that comes in front of him or her. Okay, so binging is something when you're not able to control yourself, when your relationship with food is such that whatever you see, no matter how much it is, how tasty, good or bad it is, you just like to binge. Okay, so that is binge eater. Mood eater is when your mood is low, when your mood is bad, then you would tend to eat certain things. And when your mood is good, then maybe you will make healthier choices as well. But it all depends on your mood, what mood you're in. Okay. Self-esteem eater. Now, self-esteem eater means that you don't feel that your self-esteem is in the right place. Okay. You don't believe that your self-esteem is where it needs to be. And that's why you eat certain foods, to satiate that hunger of your self-esteem. You are eating. You're not eating because you're physically hungry. So that is a self-esteem eater. Stress eater. Whenever there is a stressful situation, okay, a situation that is fearful for the other person, that is when these people tend to eat the most or make whatever food choices they have. Snowball effect eater is that these are the kind of people who actually feel that, things are going to go wrong. So for example, if something very small has happened, something very minuscule has happened, they would actually make it bigger in their head and eat because of that, because they believe that that situation is really bad, whereas it's not. Okay, so that is a typical snowball effect eater. Now, at any given point of time, you could be a combination of different eaters as well, but it would tell you typically how you make your food choices, how you reach out for food, whether you are in a good mood, that's why you bad mood, that's why you reach out for certain foods, or you're trying to just raise your self-esteem by eating. So I'd like to know from you guys, what are your results? Like, would anybody like to share the results with me at this point? And was it something that did reveal something about yourself that you were not aware of earlier? Do you think that this was helpful in understanding what your relationship with food is, or how you make certain food choices over the others?
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah.
Hi, yes, I can hear you.
Hi. See, I love food. I'm a foodie. Okay, I find almost 3 in all the 5 categories.
Okay. So you're definitely letting your emotions drive you. And that is not a bad thing, Sarvan. That is definitely not a bad thing. It's just that since, we tend to fall into the emotional eating trap, like I discussed, we need to be aware that our emotions are driving us to eat food. So we need to control ourselves. So it's not physical hunger because of which you're eating.
Exactly,
It is
exactly.
emotional hunger. That awareness is the first step. So now I feel that after this exercise, maybe you are a bit more aware about it. So the next time you reach out for something like that, next time you reach out for, let's say, a bar of chocolate, you'll know that, okay, maybe there's something else that you need to address inside. Yes, deep down. Yeah.
Okay.
So this was only to spread that awareness.
Inshaa, there's a question from Trisha. She wants to self-esteem to be explained again.
Okay. So see,
Self-esteem eater.
yeah, sure. So see, self-esteem eater is that you are not happy with what you are right now. Your self-esteem is not where you would want it to be. And to quench that thirst, okay, to make yourself feel good, you are seeking comfort in food. So you're reaching out for food to feel better about yourself, okay, to raise your self-esteem in a way. So that is why you're making these food choices. Does that answer your question? Does this clarify that, Trisha?
Trisha?
Would anybody else also like to share something, like any insights, anything that you might have noticed through this exercise or during the session that you weren't already aware of when it comes to your eating patterns and self-esteem?
I think Trisha is facing some technical issue. She's not
Okay.
able to answer.
Okay, no problem. That's fine.
And there is, I don't know, I can't see the name, but.
Yeah, that's, I think, Devi Auntie, that's Shweta's mom.
Okay.
Yes. Does she have a question, Hema?
Yeah, she's saying I don't fall in any category.
So what
So
does
that's
that
excellent.
indicate?
No, but that's excellent, Auntie. That means that you are not letting your emotions drive you. You are listening to your body, listening to when it's actually hungry, and accordingly eating food. So your relationship with food is at a good place right now, I'd say.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay, Amrita, you have a message you want to know self-esteem eater once again? Or is that question answered?
Yes, I want to know. I lost it because of some technical glitch. I couldn't hear
Oh,
her.
no problem. No problem. So, Amrita, when you feel that your self-esteem is not where it should be, when you don't feel great about yourself, you try to seek comfort in food in a certain way, and that is where the self-esteem eater, concept comes. That you are trying to reach out for food because you're just trying to feel good about yourself. That's it. Yeah, that is self-esteem eater. Amrita, does this answer your question?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hi Inshaa, Shifalika here.
Hi, Shifalika.
I want to ask you, are all of these problematic like zone?
No. See, nothing is problematic, Shifali. We need to understand that first. This is not problematic. This is all for us to understand what our natural tendency is. Okay. So we all could be, you could be answering, three
I
questions.
fell under the binge eater.
Binge eater. Okay. So that's fine. But the thing is, awareness is important. So now you know that you fall in this category. That means you have a tendency to binge eat. All right. So when you know, when you're aware of something, that you can automatically work towards it and make it a bit better, right? So if you fall in the binge eater category, you know that you have a natural tendency to binge, even if you're not, physically hungry. So you just need to curb that a little bit, and that will come, with awareness. First step is awareness. So now you're aware. So I'm sure that you can begin that path of retracting a little bit, of not binging so much, right?
Unapologetic about the binge eating.
Sorry?
Then how? I said, what if someone is unapologetic about the binge eating? Like,
That's
is
fine
it
too. That's fine too,
yeah?
as long as it doesn't affect your health. Okay, so our physical
Okay.
health, emotional health, mental health. These are the two very important things. As long as you feel that you're binging into something is not impacting your health in a major way, physical health or mental health, it's absolutely fine. These are all the choices that we make, Shifali. And if you're happy with a certain choice that you're making, that's absolutely all right. But you need to see how it's impacting your health also, right?
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. All right. So this was all about, understanding how our eating patterns are and what we are like, what our natural inclination is towards. And I really believe that it's very, very important for us to know, what our natural tendencies are. Only then we can work upon it. Only then we can do something about it. So I'm going to take us to the next segment. So this was all about food, right? By all about making our relationship with food a healthier one. Now I'm going to talk about lifestyle choices. Yes, how we can make our relationship with. One second, just give me 1 second. I'm trying to share something with you guys. Yeah. So now we're going to talk about how we can make our relationship with. So sorry, once again, I'm having facing some technical issues here. Just a second. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. You can all see my screen, right? Okay. So now we're going to talk about how we can make certain lifestyle choices to make our self-esteem, to raise our self-esteem a little more. Yes. So when it comes to lifestyle choices, there are two very important things that we need to consider. Altering or changing is up to you. But the first thing is the kind of movement or or exercise that we do. Now, exercise is important for everyone, but everybody's body is different, everybody's system is different, so everybody needs a different kind of exercise. Yeah, a different kind of movement to keep them active. The most important thing is for us to keep ourselves active at all given points of time. So that is one thing in our lifestyle that we need to alter if we are not already leading an active lifestyle. The other thing that we need to change, the other choice, lifestyle choice that we need to make is mental rejuvenation techniques. Now, when I talk about mental rejuvenation, I'm talking about techniques that can help us calm ourselves down, you know, to be completely at that place where we can say that, okay, now we've hit the reset button and now we can get back to reality again. Okay, so these two things are super important. But first, I'm going to talk about, you know, exercise and movement, of course. I believe that all of us need at least 10 minutes of exercise during the day, if not more. Okay, 10 minutes is the least amount of exercise. And by exercise, I mean maybe just a walk, okay, a small walk, or something to do with yoga, something that you enjoy, some activity, physical activity that you enjoy. That is very important. But besides that, there are also certain happy asanas or happy poses that would actually make you instantly calm and make you instantly happy. So what are those poses? So all the poses that you see on the screen right now, I call them happy asanas because each one of them makes us happier in a way. Yeah, they impact our mind in a certain way. They give us a certain level of calmness inside. Yes, but if I had to choose one favorite happy asana of mine that I know for sure works in a stressful situation and otherwise, I'd say it is a forward fold. Okay, so if you see, look down in the last row, the third pose that you can see is the forward fold. It's a very simple, pose. All you need to do is stand up, raise your arms up, and try to touch your feet. Okay, what will happen with this forward fold is that since your head is facing the floor, right, it's on the floor, facing the floor, blood will rush in your brain in a certain way and instantly calm you down. Okay, so these are certain techniques that we must inculcate in our everyday life, in our everyday routine, to keep us calm in general. Whether we have a tendency to let our emotions affect us or not, whether we have a tendency to feel that our self-esteem is low or not, that is a separate thing. But each one of us should do certain such poses to keep us mentally calm. It should just become a part of your lifestyle. Yes, so this is the first thing. The other thing that I was talking about was mental rejuvenation techniques. And out of all the mental rejuvenation techniques out there, if there is one that is super simple and super efficient and super effective, it is breathing. We all are breathing on a daily basis, right? We are breathing all the time. But if we nail how to breathe properly, if we find out how to breathe in the most effective way, then we can get the most out of it. We can get the most benefit out of it. All right. So there are many breathing techniques out there that are very effective. But I have identified 2 such breathing techniques which are super simple and very effective as well, and give you that feeling of instant calmness. And I'd like to practice them with you today. Yes, the first technique that I'd like to practice with you guys is called the 4-7-8 technique. It's very simple, really. In this technique, you just have to breathe in on 4 counts, hold your breath for 7 counts, and then breathe out through your mouth on 8 counts. So I want all of you to sit in a comfortable position. Yes, keep your hands on your thighs, relax your shoulders, close your eyes, and I'm going to do the counting for you. Yes. Okay, now breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll do it one more time. Keep your eyes closed. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now slowly open your eyes and tell me how you felt. Would anybody like to share how they felt?
Pretty calming.
Yes, you feel calmer?
Yeah, it's pretty calming.
Yeah. So this is just 2 times, right? We've just done it twice, and it's already making us feel a little calm. Imagine if you did it, 10 times or for 2 minutes, how much more calm you'd feel from inside. And calmness is the first step to understanding what's going on inside as well. Till your mind and till you yourself are not completely calm, you won't be able to put things in perspective the way you should. Yes. So this is definitely one technique that helps. Anybody else that felt anything after doing this? Would you like to share anything with me? Any more insights?
It was very relaxing. Yeah, I felt good while doing it.
It felt good, right? Okay. So imagine if we just made something as simple as breathing a part of our lifestyle. Um, we made it a part of our lifestyle in such a way that 2 minutes during the day or at night, right before sleeping, if you do something so simple as this, then how much more calm you'd feel. Imagine you'd always be calm. You'll always feel that you are able to think clearly, right? So this is the first technique. Now the second technique that I'd also like to do with you guys, which is also very simple and effective, is it's called the belly breathing or the diaphragmatic breathing. Now, have you guys ever seen a baby breathe? Yeah, when a baby is breathing, the baby's belly is actually coming out when it's breathing in and going in when it's breathing out. But when we are breathing on a regular basis, do you experience your belly going in or coming out? No, right? So that is superficial breathing. What we are doing is breathing in a haste. We are not breathing the way we should be breathing. Okay, so belly breathing is just that. So during belly breathing, what we need to focus on is only our stomach coming out when we're breathing in and our stomach going in when we're breathing out. These are the only 2 things we need to focus on. And I'm going to be doing the counting for you guys. So once again, I just want you guys to close your eyes, relax your shoulders, put your hands on your thighs, and now breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold your breath. 1, 2. Now breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do it one more time. Keep your eyes closed. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold your breath. 1, 2. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now slowly open your eyes and tell me who all were able to experience their stomach going out and coming in while breathing. Were you able to do this? Was anybody able to do it properly? Like, did you experience your belly going
It
as well?
I could experience, but it felt like a bit artificial. Like we never do that,
Yes,
so
yes.
it is
Because
a
we're
bit
not used to
different.
Correct.
Yeah,
We're not used to doing it,
but
and
the
that's
first
why
part, the 4, 7, 8, that one was more relaxing than this is what I felt.
Okay. So see, this is something, Amrita, that since you said, you yourself said that you're not, it doesn't feel natural because you're not used to doing it. It takes a little while to get a hang of it, but once you do, then you will feel that, it's equally effective. If not equally, it's a little more effective than 4, 7, 8 is what I'd say. But yes, that breathing does take a while. But also what it does is belly breathing, Amrita, that it takes your mind off everything else. If you would have noticed in that moment when you're trying to breathe in and bring your belly out, all you're focusing is on your belly. So that automatically shifts your thoughts and everything to your breathing in the moment, and that itself helps a lot. That itself is a helpful technique. So
Yeah, I think I can kind of agree. I think, and I've generally, whenever there's anxiety, whenever there is a sense of having a panic attack, this is a breathing, exercise that I often go to because, it lets me know whether I'm feeling anxious or not. Because
yes,
whenever there is, if I feel the hand that is placed on the chest moving upwards, which means I am feeling anxious.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. So these are just some very simple techniques to help you with your lifestyle, in your lifestyle. Some simple changes that we can make in our lifestyle, some simple easy steps that we can follow in our daily routine to help us achieve where we want to be when it comes to our self-esteem, to help us be that person that we want to be, to attain self-love in the best possible way. So yeah, I think with this I'd like to wrap up my session, Aki. I hope I've not taken too much time. I didn't actually see the time. Okay. All right. But if you guys have any questions, if you want to ask me anything related to food or lifestyle, please let me know. I'm right here. I can answer the questions that you have or any doubts that you have.
I just wanted to know I mean, how good or bad is dairy? Like, I'll just share. I was asked to stop milk. I have this full fat milk, and I was asked to stop it, and I was extremely unhappy those days. And then I said that okay, I've had it all my life. I don't see why it is bad, and I started having, and that made me feel good. But when I was not having, I was kind of bloating, adding weight, this that. Once I started having, again my weight was back to what is, I mean, under control and all that. So I don't know whether one should be having, not having, or just do what makes you happy.
Okay, so Divyanti, see, first of all, we need to understand that everybody's body is different. Yeah, we all have different requirements when it comes to our body, and no foods are good or bad. We've tagged them as bad foods, like dairy is bad, allergens are bad, gluten is bad, but actually no food is good or bad in a way. We have only made it good or bad because it either suits us or it does not. Yes, most of the times we don't even know whether it suits us or not. We just follow whatever people around us are doing, yeah, without even thinking about it and do it. But I'm very happy that you took some time to understand whether dairy is working for you or not, because I know very few people who would actually take time to understand what their body is actually, how their body is actually responding to certain foods. So I'm very happy that you did that, and good that you found out that dairy works for you, because dairy is not bad for everyone. It depends on your system. And if your system is agreeing with it, then please go ahead and have it. And if dairy would not suit you, then you would get certain signs as well. Your body will tell you that it's not for me. And the signs would be typically from anything in the gastrointestinal system, like anything to do with your digestion or your skin or your hair or your mood. But if you feel that everything is fine, everything is working as per your plan, and dairy fits into your daily requirement, then please go ahead and have it. No
No,
problem.
but I did get skin allergies at that time, which
Okay.
I didn't test. But it was. I mean, the general opinion was that it could be because of dairy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I discontinued it, I did stop that allergy. I mean, it had reduced considerably. But now when I've restarted, I've restarted in a smaller portion, and now I don't get those allergies actually. So
So maybe it was
I don't know
something
how it
along
works.
with dairy that was not suiting you. And also, like you said, portion sizes are very important, Auntie. We need to make sure that whatever is good for us also now, we don't exceed the portions in a certain way. So we should only have everything in a certain quantity, because we cannot like exceed, we cannot have like 2 liters of milk and expect it to work for us. We can just have like maybe a glass of milk or 2 glasses of milk and understand what our daily requirement is. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Continue having dairy, but just have it in, like you said, just check the portion sizes, of course, of how much you're having, and enjoy it, because you seem to really like it and it makes you happy. So please continue taking it. There is nothing wrong about it.
Like you said last time, the soul food, it's kind of a soul food for me.
Yes. So please stay attached to your soul food. I always encourage that. Understand what your soul food is, and please continue having your soul food.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Inshaa, I had something to discuss.
Yes.
I'm not sure if it's related to this or no, but from the survey from the questions that you had asked, it turned out I am a self-esteem eater.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, and around 2 years back, that is before my pregnancy, I was I had this fitness, I had enrolled for a diet plan. And there I was like, it was totally a protein based plan. I lost considerable amount. I was very particular about eating everything, and I had achieved my target. But now I don't know, it's related to post pregnancy or what, I'm not sure, but my body somehow is not accepting any, the thought of having a protein just puts me off. And but at the back of my mind, I know that because I was totally on a protein diet, I lost my weight, and now I am not able to eat it. I will not lose my weight.
See, so Ruju, first of all, I feel that I'm very happy that at that point you were on an all protein diet and you lost your weight. But at the end of the day, we need to understand that our body needs everything. Okay, it needs the carbohydrates, all the macronutrients, the carbohydrates, the proteins, the fats, and whenever our body is devoid of something, then it reacts in a certain way. So that time when you lost your weight, now your body remembers that, okay, you know what, last time I had too much protein, like all that I was having was protein, I was not getting other nutrients.
Correct.
Now your body will not let you get back to that. You need to balance your diet, but it's such a way that if you're exercising a lot and if you want, to get back in shape, then of course you'll have to have a little more protein than normal. But you definitely need to have the other macronutrients as well, so that there are no deficiencies in the body that are making you crave for other foods.
Okay.
Yeah, so you need to make sure that your body is well nourished. If your body is well nourished, it will not crave for anything wrong, first of all, and it will accept the changes that you're making very readily as well. So whenever your body is revolting, that means you're not doing something right good. If you make all the right changes in your diet and in your lifestyle, automatically your body will, send you signals that, okay, what you're doing is right. So just balance your macros. Yes, include everything in your diet, maybe a little more protein.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm really happy that you brought up the topic that it's not the non-veg protein that helps you, it's also veg which helps you.
Absolutely, because it's
Thank you so much.
And everybody out there believes that only animal fat gives you the right kind of protein, which is not true. You get enough vegetarian protein as well.
Yes. Thank you.
No problem.
Inshaa, just one quick question. What is soul foods? Since, there was a small conversation about it.
Okay. So see, soul food, Shifalika, is the kind of food that makes you happy, that brings back, happy childhood memories to you. Something that you're connected to, food that you're connected to, that you have a deep connection. For example, for me, my soul food is dal khichdi, because I just remember, eating it as a kid, and it brings back all the happy memories from childhood. So that is the kind of food that actually calls out to me. And whenever I see dal khichdi, I can't control myself. Okay, because that's my soul food. It calls out to me. So you need to identify those foods, but also please don't be confused between soul foods and comfort foods. Comfort foods also call out to you, And soul food will also call out to you, but you need to understand what is your soul food, healthier version of food that you need to reach out for, and which one is just calling out to you for no reason, the comfort.
Okay. Thank you.
No
Yep.
problem.
I think Inshaa, after this session, whenever we think about food or we pick up a packet of chips or something, we're going to think about binge eater, self-esteem eater, all these thoughts are going to come. But
Yeah.
in a way, it's good because it's going to help us maintain a healthy diet also.
Yeah. No, see, like I said, Hema, awareness is the first step.
Yeah.
So this session was only meant to make everyone aware of where we stand in terms to our eating habits and in terms to, our health overall. So I hope you guys enjoyed the session. And now I'm going to just pass it on to, let's keep the ball rolling. Aki, you can take it forward now. Thank you so much for attending the session, and I hope you guys liked it.
Thank you, Inshaa.
Thank you. She had a question wherein she wanted to know if she can have some particular foods, when she's feeling a little low or moody because of her PMS. So I did tell her that warm milk, anything that's warm and soothing will be nice for her. Nuts are very good. Green leafy vegetables are very good. So let's say a bowl of oatmeal would instantly make her feel better. So something like that, some soothing foods. And don't forget the soul foods in the end, whatever soul foods are, just reach out for those soul foods in those times and you will feel much better.
Thanks, Inshaa.